for everybody out there listening. I had a stroke in 2019 that debilitated my left side. And I mean, I would not be where I am today, if it was not for deer and ducks and turkey. That feels like a pretty important message. And God put that in my heart, to get out there. And I don't know why I went through this, but I'm starting to now. This whole thing, of hunting, and I'll just kind of shove this the way, I had a stroke. For everybody out there listening, I had a stroke in 2019 that debilitated my left side and left me paralyzed for about 3 months, and wasn't sure if I was going to be able to walk. The doctors didn't know if that was going to be possible. And it was caused by what's called an AVM, an arterial venous malformation. And I was in the process of getting that embolized, which is a fancy word for gluing it shut. And it was going to take about 8 brain surgeries to glue it shut through my femoral artery. And I would go rest. I would go do those on Monday, rest Tuesday and Wednesday, and then I'd be back on the road Thursday, per the neurologist. He said that was cool. And I would do about 1 every 2 months. I would do an embolization, and I needed 8. And I was 4 deep into it, and about halfway through the touring season in 2019, and took the stage in Roanoke, Virginia. And about 3 songs in, the 1% chance of it rupturing happened. And it sounded like a 12-gauge shotgun going off in my right ear. And it popped, and it ruptured, and causing a hemorrhagic stroke on stage. Luckily, there was a miracle from God happened with there being a trauma 1 level hospital about 3 miles away. They stopped it bleeding within 20 minutes of it starting, which saved my life. And, the rest of the reason I'm sitting here talking and met Graham and all these people is because I've been rehabbing for 5 years, because that stole my ability to walk and my ability really to communicate for a minute. And I didn't know if that was going to get, I was a hunter. I was a fisherman. I was opening up for Zach Brown and Eric Church and Willie Nelson and going and doing and playing at Fenway Park and living my dream, and all of that got pulled out from under me. And it's taken me this long, and I did learn how to walk again, obviously. I am playing music again. I am making music again. We are doing the thing again, but the hunting aspect of it, and all that was a miracle, right? So cheer, that's great. And a lot of prayer, a lot of personal spiritual gains and things like that. But the hunting thing, I'd always been connected to that 7-year-old catching bluegills on Cove Creek. That had always made me feel alive, you know what I mean? Being able to cook and do my own thing and just be independent. And so now my wife's having to help wipe my ass, and it's a really, I don't care who you are, that is as humble as it gets. And you realize really quick that rock bottom has a basement. And my brother-in-law, her brother's, he's 43, I'm 41. And he comes and he says, let's put a game camera up behind the house. And this was like in, so that happened in August, September 2020. 19. September, October. And I said, man, I don't see the point. I can't climb a tree. I can't get in a blind. I can't even walk down there. I'm in a wheelchair. I've got tennis balls on the back of a, walker type thing in a wheelchair. And he said, well, let's just put it down there, Drake, and see what happens. And a week later, 175-inch deer, not exaggerating, walks in front of that camera, and right here, 50 yards behind my house, 100 yards behind my house. And it lit a fire in me. You're talking about somebody that was having to get his ass wiped and paralyzed. It just got on his feet. This primal instinct went off in me, and I swear I could have got up and danced a river dance around my bed. I was like, I couldn't believe my eyes. And so I go to Griff, Graham, and I said, hey, man, we got to learn how to climb a ladder. And he looked at me like I had three heads. He was like, dude, we got to learn how to walk. And, you know, Griff's a hunter. He's from Mississippi, and I held the phone up to him, and he saw that deer. He goes, get on that Versa climber. Let's go. And so we start embarking on the challenge of learning how to climb a ladder. And so I never killed that deer, but my wife helped me get up that ladder opening day and helped me get up there and hunt with a crossbow and made me feel like I was a provider again. And hunting did that. That deer made this primal instinct in my brain and in my heart kick into high gear. It started this neuroplasticity thing. And I mean, I would not be where I am today, if it was not for deer and ducks and turkey and just wanting to go and wanting to train. And dude, what a blessing. What a blessing that is for me to be able to even go still. And I think about it every time I see a sunrise in the stand or in the blind. And so I thought, man, what a great way to tell this story of resilience and perseverance. And so I partnered with my buddies at Realtree and some of my buddies at around the wildlife, you know, the outdoor community, and we're documenting that whole process. We're doing all of it, showing the stroke and telling people the good news of what hunting did for me and how it actually healed, because hunting is our primal right and is our primal instinct as men and women and hunters and gatherers and providers. And man, people are excited. They're kind of losing it because I'm telling that story and they're going, dude, because no matter where you're at, did y'all see the fox and the Colonel and the Fox? The Mossy Oak film, The Colonel and the Fox?
No, I didn't see it.
Well, it's a human story about the basically the resurrection of the American wild turkey, and it being like two or three guys in Alabama down on the Mississippi line, their idea to start resurrecting the wild turkey because it had been hunted out. And it's such a great documentary and film that it doesn't matter how competitive you are. And I love Cam Haines. He's one of my favorites. Doesn't matter if you can carry a rock up Mount Pisgah. It doesn't matter if you wear mossy oak or shin or bandit or Realtree. You have to be a fan of that Colonel and the Fox documentary if you hunt an American wild turkey, because they would be extinct if it wasn't for them. So it's a human story, right? Well, the story I just told you, that's what hunting needs, is the human stories, to where the people in California, New York, wherever, the left, the right, the up, the down, it doesn't matter, where they understand how important our heritage of hunting is and how important it is that my son, Hawk, knows how to build a fire and change a tire and cook a bluegill over a fire. That's what we're doing with this documentary, and that's why I wanted to come on here and tell y'all my outdoor story and talk to you guys as well. But like that feels like a pretty important message, and God put that in my heart, to get out there. And I don't know why I went through this, but I'm starting to now. I'm starting to figure it out. Oh, I saw what the big man's got up his sleeve, because it's opening up these windows that I never would have had if I wouldn't have been paralyzed and didn't have that authority to speak for mental illness, to speak for people that are unable and disabled, for the guy on the corner, for anybody. And so The Hunt's the Healing is going to be the name of that documentary. And we're looking at releasing it probably September, October of 2025. So I'm really proud of that. Really proud to be in the music that came from it was insane. Has been great. But man, that hunting aspect, that's a powerful story. in my life and something that I'll carry with me for forever.
Absolutely.
Well, people that don't like, there are casual hunters like, oh hey, it's opening weekend of Modern Gun, I'm gonna go hunt with my buddies. I get that, but maybe some people from that group, people that don't hunt, I don't think they understand the deep connection we all have with it. You know what I mean? And like,
Well, I mean, it's like one thing me and you have talked about before, Clayton. Like, how many guys have you met that are hunters that you haven't been able to have a conversation with and get along with? Like, about anybody that you run into that's a hunter, you have some type of connection to where you can at least hold a conversation and be civil human beings, no matter if you're left, right, center, whatever. Like, everybody who is a part of that world has that type of connection, and I really look forward to your documentary, Drake, because I feel like that's going to send a great message to people, that a lot of people that either aren't after them like some of us are going to be able to, it's going to either open their eyes, and people that aren't hunters at all, it's just going to kind of show them what it brings out of us and why we have such a deep connection to being able to go out in the woods and hunt after these animals.
It's really bigger. It's bigger than, I know it's a cliche, but it's bigger than hunting, the industry. It's bigger than music. It's bigger than the four of us standing here talking about, Zach not calling me back, or, whatever.
Does that bother you?
It's this thing. I'm not bothered by that. Don't think I'm bothered by that. I will not mention it again. But
it's starting to make me mad now.
Man, that whole story was so that I could get y'all attached to me so we could form an alliance against Zach.
It worked.
Ain't looking